The folks over at unbox have sent me a Raspberry Pi 3 B Plus kit. This is everything you need to set up a Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi itself, power supply, power cables, power supply, everything you need to get it going, including software. Let's set it up. We'll check it out. I have here a Raspberry Pi 3 model B Plus, which claims that it's 19% faster than a Model B for the CPU. I got this one from aboxtech.com. They sent me this unit to check out and show off. I haven't even opened this one up yet. So we're going to open this one together and see what comes in the box. Of course, a Raspberry Pi, for those of you that have been living under a rock and don't know what it is, it's a small single board computer. Plug your keyboard, mouse, and monitor into it, and you can do all kinds of cool things. I've got a couple Raspberry Pis now that I use for, let's see what comes in the box. Looks like it comes with a power supply, comes with HDMI cable, even comes with a 32 gig micro SD. What do we got here? Got a card reader as well. And this looks like a little heat sink of some type. Let's just see what comes in the box. And of course it's a kit, so let's see what it comes with. So this Pi being a kit, it's going to have the main board itself here. So this is going to be the bare Raspberry Pi unit itself. Beautiful. And of course it's going to come with the Raspberry Pi manual. Now these little units here can run Linux, and they can run multiple OSs, but I'm sure that the OS that's on the card here is going to be a flavor of Linux. And I've typically used these in the past just as media players. In fact, I've got a couple of them in the house. They're the old original Raspberry Pi 1 that I've been using for years, and I use them as a media player. But this is the latest version of it. It's got your Ethernet port. It's got 4 USB ports, micro USB slot on here somewhere for loading the OS, which is on the SD card. Comes with an SD reader as well, so that you can change the OS. So you can put your SD card into here, and then this will plug into a standard USB. It also has a Type-C USB port to plug into your phone, for example, which is kind of cool. I think these are a couple heat sinks, probably to stick onto the processor here to help keep it a little cooler. This one's actually my old Raspberry Pi 2. I just wanted to bring this one out just to show you the old one, because you see over here where it says made in PRC. Well, that was the Raspberry Pi 2. Here's the Raspberry Pi 3. Love it. Made in the UK. Like the Raspberry Pi 1. This one's going to be a good one. So I just wanted to show my other one that I've had for a while. And I think I got a media player on this, so we can probably just pop the SD card into this one and play around with it. But this is the new one here, the Raspberry Pi 3, that I'm going to be demonstrating, and we're going to get this thing going and run some apps on it and just play around with it and see how it works. Now, of course, it's got your standard USB power connector, and you need to use a good USB power supply, one that's going to supply at least a couple of amps of power, because this thing is a computer on a board. It's a little microcomputer. HDMI port to connect to your monitor. It does have standard AV outputs on it as well. If you want to connect it to a regular TV, you can use the AV output on it here. That's one thing I liked about the old original Raspberry Pi 1, was it had a stereo connector for the audio, and it had a separate video connector for composite output, whereas this one here uses a multi-connector. So you use a breakout cable that gives you your left and right audio and your video on it, like the Pi 2. That's if you want to feed a regular monitor. Pi 3's also got onboard a Wi-Fi antenna, so it's got onboard Wi-Fi, so you don't have to keep bumping my camera. You don't have to use a separate Wi-Fi USB. So basically you've got Ethernet, it's got Wi-Fi built in, 4 USB ports. You can plug a keyboard and a mouse into two of them, and you've got two more that you can use for other things, and your OS lives on the SD card. First thing we'll do is I'm going to put the heat sink onto this thing, and I'm going to put it in its case, and then we're going to power it up and plug it into a monitor and see what it does. So we'll go over some of the ports on here for those that are unfamiliar. You've got your 40-pin GPIO header. The Broadcom CPU is here. It has a display connector, so you can connect it to like an LCD or a touchscreen. The display would connect here. It has a camera connector over here. This is called a CSI camera connector. Your HDMI port, a 4-pole 3.5mm audio video composite connector. The SD card slot for the OS is on the bottom, of course, of the unit. Your 4 USB ports. This one over here is a power over Ethernet port, and your standard Ethernet port. That's pretty much the hardware itself. I'm just looking at the instructions. It's come with preloaded Noobs micro SD, so we're going to play around with Noobs. I've done nothing with Noobs, so I guess I'm going to have to learn something about this, because basically what I've used these things for in the past, as they say, is running unattended media players. So it comes with a couple little heat sinks. I would imagine that probably this one is going to go onto the chip on the bottom down here to help cool this chip. So we'll just peel the double-sided tape off the back here and stick it onto the chip like that. That'll help cool this chip, and then the CPU on top is going to get, because this is a stack, it's got memory underneath here, so it's got two chips that are stacked on top of each other. Imagine that that's where this one is intended to go. So we'll put the copper heatsink on top of the main processor. That'll help keep that one cool. Next, I'm going to mount it into its case, because I did receive a case with it as well. They've gotten smart. They're using a black case now. You see, the last case I bought for my other one was white, and the problem with that one was if you fire a camera off, a camera flash will actually reset this old one. They had a kind of a little bit of a problem there with them. This one here is designed so that you can access, it's got a top cover, but you can access all of the ports if you want to access the ports. So to open this up, we're just going to pop it apart. And we'll set the unit inside the base. It goes on like that, and then the next top piece snaps on top of it. Like that. See, this gives you access to all of the ports once it's plugged in. You get your camera connector, your display connector, your power connector, HDMI, the GPIO header, and the USB. It looks like it's got a place for the Pi camera to actually sit here if you buy the Pi camera for it. It has a place to sit, and then the top cover goes only on one way. It goes on like this. You see, it's got a space here for the Pi camera to come out through the slot here. It would have a flexible cable on it. So that's the unit assembled. We'll put the SD card into the unit, and then I got to go dig up a TV that I can plug this into, because my TV that's sitting here right now does not have an HDMI port. Now I'm going to go drag out a TV, and we're going to hook this up and do the basic setup, get it connected to my network, and let it update its software, and then we'll see what this thing does. Oh, and incidentally, this Type-C card reader, this just pops out like that. You can put a micro SD card or a T-Flash card, same thing, into there. And then you can either plug it into your USB-C device like your phone, or you can plug it into a regular USB 3 port and transfer files to your computer. So it comes with everything. That it's going to come in handy because my existing micro SD reader is only a USB 2. So this will transfer my files from my camera to my computer faster than what I'm currently able to do. So I'll be trying this out just to dump my files. But let me go grab a TV. We'll get this thing set up and try it out. So let's turn the Pi on for the first time. It comes with a little switch on the power supply, which is kind of neat. So the first time it boots up, it does this, goes through a self-test, and it's going to load software. It's going to load Noob's April 18th, 2018 build. Oh, it even comes with a Kodi environment and Raspbian. Where's my mouse? Got a mouse here somewhere. Just gotta find it. There it is. I guess I can probably install both of these things. Okay, I'll install both of these. And here we'll go. Okay, well there's no OSs yet, so we'll do this. So right now it's going to install the software onto the 32 gig SD card that came with the unit. We'll give it a few minutes here to do its installation. So about 64% installed now. It's taking a few minutes. Once this thing's fully installed, we'll play around with it and see how great these little units are. These Raspberry Pi units are just fantastic because you can do all kinds of things with them. A media player or Kodi, or any of the other Kodi lookalikes, that's what I've been using them for, is media players, but they can do so much more than that, and they're fully expandable. But in this video I'm just going to demonstrate just the bare bone stuff that come with the unit. So if you buy one of these units from the link that's in the video, this is what you'll be getting out of the box. Just add your own keyboard and mouse and TV and you're ready to go. Okay, we're done. Okay, now when I boot it up, I have to select which one I want to boot with. So if I select Raspbian, cool. So I'll say this is the first time I've set this up, and I don't think I've ever used Raspbian before, so this is the first setup here. I have to tell it where I am. Of course it starts out in the United Kingdom. That's where the thing was designed and built. Somewhere in here there will be good old Canada. And time zone. We'll pick Vancouver time zone. That's close enough. Next, it's going to set my location. Okay, default Pi user account has the password Raspberry. I strongly recommend you change this to a different password that only you know. What if I don't want to set a password? Okay, I'll set one. Be right back. Okay, put a new password in here. It's going to look for my Wi-Fi networks. Since this has built-in Wi-Fi, I'm going to select my my password, or select my Wi-Fi network and enter my password. So I've done that, so now it's going to check for any updates. If there's any updates to Raspbian, it's going to download them. And I'm sure there probably is, because the unit itself, the software was from last year. So here it's going to download any updates for the software. So now it's going to get updates. So this could take a couple minutes, so I'll just stop the camera while this is taking place. I should point out that this one has a 64-bit quad-core ARM V8 CPU. It has both 2.4 and 5 GHz 802.11b GN and AC wireless and Bluetooth 4.2 plus BLE. So that's what this version has. Should be the most powerful Raspberry Pi yet. Here we are an hour later. Is this done yet? Nope. Still installing updates. This is a very slow process. So we'll just leave it go for a little while longer and see how long this finally takes by the time it's done all of its updates. Well, what do you know? It's finally up to date. Let's click OK. And now I have to reboot. So click reboot. If you look down here, you can see where my LED is out on this screen at the bottom here. This is a TV that I have a bad LED backlight in. You know, one that people said, oh, it won't last. If you bridge out the LED that's bad, the TV won't last. It'll burn out in 2 days. This one was done, what, 2 years ago? This TV. Wait for it to boot up here. You can see right down here, there's one LED that's out right behind here. It won't show up in that picture. If I put up a white screen, you can see it. But it does have one dark patch on this set, right down about there on the bottom row. So I guess this thing's got a web browser built in. What's this one for? Click here to open the applications menu. Okay. Oh, okay. It's got Office built in, programming. I'll have to study some of these things. I haven't gone through any of this stuff. It's got Chromium web browser. That would be the same as this one here. So if I click on this one, let's see what we can do. See if we can surf with this Raspberry Pi. I clicked it. There it is. Oh, it's got Adobe Flash Player. It's installing. Looks like it's got it. So, I can sign into my Google account. Cool. I won't bother with that right now. We'll just maximize this and see how this thing works. Let's try going to YouTube. See if it'll play YouTube. Damn, it does. Of course, I'm kind of biased here. Oops. I'll go to my own channel. You know, because who else's channel am I going to go to? Oh, that's kind of nice. The browser on this is actually quite nice. Let's take a look at, we'll play one of my videos here. Let's see how this, oh, cool. If I turn up the volume on this TV, we'll actually have some sound. I want to see how things look, so I'm just going to search out, even though this is not a real high-end TV, it's not a 4K set, it's only a 1080, but I'll look up this video here. Where is it? My Oregon Coast video. There it is. I want to see how this plays. Full screen. And let's see the resolution kick up on this thing here. It's going to go to 1080. Yeah, it should kick into 1080 here. Let's see how this little processor can handle 1080. Doesn't look like it's handling it that good, does it? It's kind of stuttering a bit. We'll knock it down to 720 and see how it handles 720. Looks like it's not doing too bad considering I'm watching it in a web browser. So let's see how it handles my little time-lapse road trip here. I bring this up to full screen. I might be pushing the little processor in this thing to get this thing to go full screen. Well, it's not doing too bad. It's dropping the odd frame here and there, but this is also was produced in 60 frames per second progressive. It's not looking too bad at all, actually. I mean, my smart TV is going to do better, but hey, that's actually doing a pretty good job. Go back to regular screen here. Let's close this down. I'm going to try the other app on here, so let's get out of this. I'll close it down here. And some of the other apps that come with this, if we look at programming, it's got Python on it, Scratch. I don't know anything about any of these things. I haven't done any programming on using Linux. But it's got your LibreOffice, so you can basic word processor, I would imagine, is what this is. Again, I haven't used this before, so you're seeing this for the first time. Yeah, so just get out of this. Oh, here, no, this would be here. That would be a database. LibreOffice based database. This would be the word processor. LibreOffice writer, which would be kind of like your yeah. Here's more of your word processor, right? So you can type a letter up on here. Basic word processor, and then you can save it. We'll take a look at some of the other options here. Graphics, image viewer. Okay, so this is going to look at photos, I would imagine. I'll have to plug some photos into this and play around with it. I haven't put anything on here yet. Games, it's got Minecraft. Accessories, it's got a file manager, PDF viewer, SD card copier, task manager, a terminal. Let's look at task manager. See, we're using 102 megabytes of 927. So this, like your regular PC, will tell you what is being used, and you can shut applications down accordingly. Very graphical, just like Windows or anything else. Let's get the Wolfram language again. That doesn't help me because I don't know the language. I'm going to shut this down and I'm going to load up. So I go down to shut down, and we'll shut it down. I want to start it up with the other program. So now that it's shut off, I can toggle off the power and turn it back on, and it should boot up with that other menu that will let me start up the media player, the Kodi equivalent. So we'll let it start up. And now I'm going to start this one here. And of course, it works just like Kodi. So I connected it to my network because, just like the other operating system, this is treated like a separate PC. So you have to connect this to your network as well. So I've now connected it to my network, and I don't have any repositories or anything on here. I don't know if it's gonna, it probably doesn't have anything at this point because nothing's been put into this. So I go down to video and select files. It should, yeah, there's my Alexa. So I'll try something. This is in 60p, 1080 60p. So as you can see, it can handle 60 frame 1080, no problem. I should handle this as an MPEG file, so it can handle that one no problem. And I can't leave this one play because of the sound on this is not royalty free, so I'll stop that. But it plays that one fine. So yeah, it's playing stuff off of my USB memory, no problem. So I installed the standard Confluence Kodi skid because this is the one that I'm used to. Everyone's used to this one, I'm sure. So here, my files would come up on here. Oops, I just click on OK. You know, so my files would come up on here. So this time I just mounted a USB stick with music on it, and I'll have tons and tons of stuff on here, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, this is kind of neat. It's easy to configure the visualization on here. So that's a look at the Raspberry Pi 3 out of the box. You can use it as a web browser, media player. If I want to go back, I can just shut this down and I'll click on reboot. And I'm given the option of which system I want to run. And once again, I've got my basic interface running. I can surf the web. I can do anything on this thing. It's like a little basic little PC. There it is, Raspberry Pi 3 Model B+. Link is in the description. Thanks for watching.